Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast, now streaming same day with breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted, now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, the breaking news just as we come on the air, what President Trump just said about the war in Iran, saying it could be ended. Asked by a report, does that mean this week? He said no. The president had originally said the war in Iran could take weeks, 4 to 5 weeks or more, but late today saying the war in Iran is, quote, very complete, pretty much. It comes amid major volatility in oil and gas prices world. And here choice. The president really survived. Here in the U.S., the cost of gas skyrockets. Overnight, oil prices surged well above $100 a barrel. The national average for a gallon of gas in the U.S. up more than 50 cents in a week. Here in New York City tonight, the alarming scenes outside the official home of the mayor, Zohran Mamdani, allegedly detonate homemade bombs during a protest. Authorities say they wanted to Yes. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Ginger Z standing by with the forecast. Tonight, 5 teenagers facing charges for a prank on their high school math teacher that turned deadly. One of the students accidentally running over the teacher. And tonight, what that teacher's family is now asking of the authorities. Also tonight, breaking now the verdict just in at the trial of those 3 brothers, 2 of them real estate stars, accused of sexual assault, what the jury has decided. Tonight, the woman under arrest after police say she fired at singer Rihanna's home with an AR-15 style rifle. Under arrest on suspicion of attempted murder. Travis Kelce making his decision tonight on his future in the NFL. Will he return to Kansas City? And punch the monkey and his stuffed orangutan. The video they have now sent in tonight, you'll see it. And look at this, the American zoos trying the same thing. 2 different zoos tossing in a stuffed monkey, but 2 very different reactions. You'll see it right here.
Unrelenting attacks in the Middle East this Monday night. As the war fuels surging oil prices, the domino effects on the supply chain, Canada's food prices, and even interest rates. Who is Iran's new supreme leader? How is he being received?
Nothing will change.
Plus, fearing for their lives. Australia's decision to protect a group of Iranian women soccer players. Good evening and thanks for joining us. U.S. and Israel have not let up on their intense attacks on Iran in this second week of the war, pushing away fresh strikes as the U.S. president is sending signal how and Iran going no sun down. Mujtaba Khamenei is the son of the previous leader who the U.S. assassinated, along with dozens of other senior officials at the beginning of this war. Asked today if the new leader has a target on his back, Trump would direct answer.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be in Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Iran continues to retaliate, launching a barrage of missiles and drones, hitting oil refinery in Bahrain, wounding more than 30 people there. Turkey says NATO shot down another Iranian missile that entered its airspace today. As well, oil prices have spiked again because refineries are being hit and tankers are not moving through the Strait of Hormuz. We have coverage of all of this tonight, beginning with Redmond Shannon.
Airstrikes on the streets of Beirut and in the hills of southern Lebanon as Israel targets the Iran.
Or binge all episodes on ABC iView. Today, Australian military assets are being deployed to the Middle East after a request from the United Arab Emirates.
This growing wave of dangerous and destabilising attacks from Iran puts civilian lives at risk, of course including Australian lives.
Also ahead, 5 women from the Iranian national soccer team granted humanitarian visas in Australia. Parts of central Queensland brace for what could be the worst flood event in 15 years. And residents in Katherine assess the damage as heavy rain begins to ease. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ross Childs. Australia has
This is Sky News, the headlines. After more than 1,600 people are killed and the world economy goes into shock, Donald Trump declares that his war against Iran is near its end.
We're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete.
A warning from the Chancellor that inflation will rise after oil prices see their biggest single-day hike in 6 years. Video evidence suggests a US Tomahawk missile hit an Iranian school, killing 165 people, most of them young girls. And 5 female Iranian footballers are granted asylum by Australia after they were labelled traitors for not singing the national anthem. Good morning. President
Hello and a warm welcome to you watching Daybreak on France 24. These are the headlines. It's nearly over, but it will continue until Iran is totally defeated and our goals are met. Donald Trump sends mixed messages about the war. Oil prices nonetheless drop back down again from a more than 3-year high. French President Emmanuel Macron says France and its allies are preparing a defensive mission to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and will stand, he says, in solidarity with allies. Macron visiting Cyprus after it was hit by an Iranian drone last week. And Australia grants humanitarian visas to 5 members of Iran's visiting women's football team. The players had refused to sing the national anthem during a match amid the war, and there are fears for their safety if they return home.
Iranian capital has seen better days after being shrouded in a cloud of thick, toxic smoke Saturday when 30 Iranian fuel depots were hit by the Israelis. It looked like the sky was on fire.
It's an absolutely apocalyptic scene here. We've just made it to the Shahran oil depot, which was attacked last night in a massive wave of airstrikes. We heard those going on for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, with massive thuds and then explosions that we could hear. And you can see that thick black smoke through the entire city across all of Tehran. It's been raining this morning in Tehran. There was oil mixed into the rain, so this is definitely a massive incident that is still going on.
We've been at war for a little over a week, and Operation Epic Fury is taking a major toll on the enemy. Iranian missile and drone launches are down around 90%. In the beginning of the war, the regime was firing off well over 100 drones a day at their neighbor. Now, just 18. Just 18 drones. And we're hitting their drone manufacturing hubs. Plus, their navy's almost non-existent. 51 Iranian ships are at the bottom of the Gulf.
In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, "What quality of ship?" "Excellent, sir. Top of the line." I said, "Why didn't we just capture the ship? We're going to use it. Why did we sink them?" They said, "It's more fun to sink them." And I said, they like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says it could get so much worse.
What was the Iranian Navy is largely no more. There'll be more boats to be sunk, for sure. So their ability to project any power in that area in a naval sense is diminishing. Diminishing and will be increasingly diminished. Again, what I want your viewers to
This is DW News, our top stories. Crowds have gathered across Iran to pay allegiance to the new supreme leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, who succeeded his late father. The 56-year-old cleric has never held a government position before, but has close ties to the paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, which has been firing missiles and drones at Israel and Gulf Arab states. U.S. President Donald Trump has told congressional Republicans that the war against Iran will be a short-term excursion.
So with your help and hard work, we're making America great again.
Trump said that the Iranian Navy, Air Force, and missile program have been destroyed, but he said the U.S. and Israel still have more to do until ultimate victory is achieved in Iran. The European Union's Economic Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis says EU finance ministers are in broad agreement with the G7 group on releasing oil reserves in case of a supply disruption. EU finance ministers are closely monitoring oil prices and actively considering measures to mitigate any impact on their economies.
The oil reserves are being
Iran has named a new supreme leader, a move that clashes with Donald Trump's insistence that he have a say in choosing Ali Khamenei's successor. In an act of defiance, Iran's assembly of experts has chosen a regime hardliner, the late Ayatollah's son.
This is Asia Now.
Hello and good Tuesday afternoon. It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 a.m. in Jakarta. I'm Yasmin Yonkers at this hour. President Donald Trump says that the U.S. is ahead of schedule in the war with Iran and is pursuing what he calls ultimate victory after suggesting fighting could soon stop. Iran dismisses this, saying it is them who will determine the end of the conflict. Oil prices ease after President Trump says he's considering U.S. control of the Strait of Hormuz to secure shipping routes. G7 nations say they're ready to act to support global energy supplies after crude surged past $100 a barrel a day earlier. And Australia grants asylum to 5 members of Iran's women's football team, now in the country for the Asian Cup. President Trump had urged Canberra not to send them back to Tehran, citing risks they face amid the conflict. Iran has rejected U.S. President Donald Trump's claim of an imminent end to the war. The Revolutionary Guard say that they would determine the end of the war and not American forces. Mr.
Most tend to come to the injuries as years of neglect have eroded the healthcare system in the country. Some of the victims of the war, like Ajung Deng, recount the horrific ordeal that almost took his life. When I was shot, I thought I was dead because the body was in pain. Yes, when you are shot and wounded, blood will pour out and the body is painful, and there you will never
Yeah, they better. They go back home. I think there's a lot of happen. They go get because they lost now and they have to go back for the same thing.
As the country tips back into civil war between rival parties, what little health care exists is almost entirely through foreign donors funded by NGOs like the International Committee of the Red Cross.
With a continuation of very, very low funding and support to actors who are actually being able to do something in this country, supporting for both primary health care and hospitals, is that the general and public health situation of South Sudanese might deteriorate. As such, the ICRC focuses, of course, on the well and wounded linked to conflict. But even in that work, we do see the reverberating effects of the challenges faced by the wider health system.
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.